Hey everyone, this is Michael Johnson here at the Belle Grand Prix. This is the second day of activities. It's been raining all morning. The track is pretty damp in some places. It got intermediate conditions out there. The track looks really fun to drive on. Right now we have Indy lights out at the moment. IndyCar ran this morning as well as the Grand Am, and the track looks really fun. I really wish I was running here. The drivers look like they're having a ball out there. It's going to be a little humid today, but it's going to be really fun.
Yeah, what the preparation coming off of India, off Indy, and then coming to a road course like Detroit, and having the rain slowing things down. Is there a different preparation that you're going through between the two races? How does it test your patience?
When it comes to preparation, I think we drivers have managed to create a, a system from years past. And coming to here, it's a matter of understanding that you first need to understand the track, understand the place where you are at, because it's such a new place to us. But when it comes to preparation, it's exactly the same, physically wise, psychological wise. We're just focused on doing the most professional and the best job out there. Still understanding that what's important here is the points. We're working for a championship, but from what I can say right now, it's going to be a physical race. It's going to be a race that is going to be very important in qualifying session, and try to keep the South Street guys in the back.
Yeah, same for me. I think that every race, either a novel or a road course, we all have our kind of routine to prepare the race. The weeks coming to the race, it can be. I mean, it's both physically and mentally. We watch video, we watch data. Of course, here it was harder because the teams had no data, and we had to go on YouTube and try to find a few videos. There were only a few, so here the preparation work was actually yeah, the preparation work was actually really different than for the other races, just because we had less information for us. But apart from that, for me, it can be a novel or a road course. It's the same routine every time. Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for coming in. Again, Sebastian Savager and Tristan Vautier, your two fastest from this afternoon session of Firestone and Lights practice. We'll go ahead and get started with today's post-practice press conference. We are pleased to be joined by Will Power of Team Penske, who is the fastest driver of the day. We're also joined by Justin Wilson of Dale Point Racing, who posted the second fastest time overall. Will had one start here previously at Belle Isle in 2008. He started 12th and finished 8th. Will, after a month of being on the ovals, talk about getting back on a road course.
Yeah, that was definitely strange the first couple of laps. The bumps and having to use a lot of lock and turn left and right. So it's nice to get back out there. I mean, this track it's insane how hard you got to push to be quick. It's great, and there's no straights, it's all corners. And yeah, had a lot of fun actually.
Thanks. We're also joined by Justin Wilson, who won the last race here in 2008 after starting from the 4th position. Justin, a bit of trouble this morning in the first practice, talking about bouncing back to post the second fastest time.
Yeah, I think like Will was saying, this place is great. It's very demanding, and it's a lot of fun. You've got to really commit and carry a lot of speed. So I really enjoyed it, and obviously did a lot better this afternoon. This morning I thought I'd forgotten how to drive, so that wasn't good. Just locked the right front wheel, and as soon as I touched the brake pedal, I locked the right front, and I knew straight away I was in big problems. I just straightened out the wheel, went straight on, gave myself as much runoff as I could, but it was still a reasonable size hit. Fortunately, not too much damage, so we were able to come back out this afternoon. And then I had the same thing on that very last lap, where it seems to be, I don't know, we've got to change brakes, but our brakes have been very sensitive. So this time I went in that corner off the pace, just touched the brakes and locked the rears, and nearly stuck it in backwards. So we'll look at that tonight, but I think it's been a great day considering we've come back and we've got a pretty quick car. Still lots of things we want to try and work on and try and beat this guy. This is getting boring.
We'll open for questions, starting with Bruce.
Well, I'm sure it goes without saying how much your boss win here would be important to your boss.
Yeah.
What exactly has he said, or does he even
Will's Chevy and Justin, your Honda. I remember hearing drivers earlier in the season and a few people at Indy having what they call a boost penalty. I'm a little confused about that. Could you explain if that's just a matter of, you do that with your foot, you exceed the turbocharged pressure through the throttle, and is there anything that the engineers from the engine company can do with the software to kind of cater to the driving style to help you avoid that? How does that work?
Well, basically, the boost penalty is, well, on the old cars, on the old turbos used to have the pop-off valve to stop you having too much boost. On this one, it's all done electronically, so IndyCar says you're allowed a certain amount of boost, and when you go over that, you get a penalty, and it's an electronic penalty, so they just bring in the rev limiter, and it slows you down, so you don't get any advantage from having too much boost pressure. So that's what's going on. The engine manufacturers are working hard to get up to that line, but obviously, it's not easy to control. So the penalties come in when the boost pressure just steps over a little bit, and we get penalized. So it's just something that's part of the new regulations, and everyone's trying to optimize it. But occasionally, it might go over.
How much of a drop in RPM?
I don't know.
It's not actually a drop in RPM, it just brings in a limiter at the RPM that you're at. So no matter where you are in the rev range, if you overboost, it just at that rev limiter, wherever that is. That's how it works. So you can't get an advantage by running more boost.
How long does that last?
It lasts as long as it's overboosting, which, a tenth of a second, however long the actual overboost is, then it stops.
Any other questions? Larry?
For both of you, do you think turn 8 will be a key kind of pivotal spot out there in the course?
Well, it looks like the best overtaking spot, but I don't know. It's difficult to really get down inside there because we turn in so early due to the bump. So
Turning the last two.
yeah, it's actually a much quicker corner than you first think. So I'm not sure if that's going to be a good one or not. Maybe down at turn 13 might be a better position.
Well, Justin, Will, thank you very much for joining us today. Best of luck
Holy
tomorrow.
smokes! People are going to look and say, "Man, this needs a tan. Turn down the whiteness. I need some sun." You ever get any sun in a race car? You ever find yourself, like at St. Pete's or something, where you're?
I get sun all the time.
I saw your friend Chandler I could tell where he had his wristband on from a couple weeks ago because he still had it. Apparently,
Yeah.
he didn't take it off for
He's
3
always like that.
4 days. So, but hey, boys and girls, Tommy Morris here again with race driver phenom Michael Johnson from the media confinements here on the island, Belle Isle, for the Chevrolet Detroit Grand Prix. And again, for day 2 for practice, or day 1, really. We were here yesterday, but actually for practice for the drivers, a couple of drivers had commented to you earlier regarding the conditions of the track and what they thought about the track.
Yeah, Tristan Vautnier just talked about how rough the track is in some parts. It's really physical on the body. But he said it's also really fun too. I so wish I was driving here. But it's he said the track is going to be really really technical for passing. He said it's really good.
And we were watching a little practice, not too many people, but a couple spins. I'm sure that's due to the, unsure conditions of the track and the weather.
Yeah, absolutely. The dampness on the track is definitely a factor in what some spins have occurred today. Just people getting used to the track. Tristan was saying that every lap, his lap times are different. The track's getting more grip, it's drying, and the drivers just getting used to driving on the track. So tomorrow we're probably going to see even faster lap times.
And, what happens offhand? Have you ever encountered if this racetrack has been put up fairly new,
Right.
Whether there becomes a hole in the track or if there's something that's, comes up from the track, it gets gravelly. Have you been involved where they've had to do some patchwork to the track? And then do they notify the drivers of it normally?
I've never been involved in any race that they've had to patch the track yet, but I'm sure they notify the drivers when it does happen. That's how these series are. They're very professional in what they do, and the drivers are as safe as they can possibly be.
Now, with the unfavorable conditions as far as for weather, tomorrow may be a mixed day, sun and clouds, maybe a shower here and there. Is there any adjustment to the fins, to any of the outside features of the automobile, of the car?
They should be pretty set. Tomorrow's qualifying for them, so they're going to trim the car out pretty hard on for lap times. Get that fast one lap. And then the cars are going to be back to pretty much what they have for today in practice for the race. So it's going to be very interesting to see what kind of times they can post tomorrow with the little drier track, maybe warmer temperatures, and the drivers with more seat time at night to rest and get it all absorbed in.
And speaking of rest, hey, you're not going to get any tonight. You're going to be at a Mazda function for Team Mazda that he's attending, but get some rest tomorrow. We will be back with some of the more drivers of the input, and again for day 2 Saturday from the Belle Isle Chevrolet Belle Isle Grand Prix. I got to say that correctly, I get in trouble. So Tommy Morris,
Michael Johnson.
and we're signing off here from the Grand Prix. Talk to you soon.